This is a SACNAS Science Video Podcast, exploring the lives and research of SACNAS scientists. I'm Cassandra Brooks. While anthropologists study human culture, medical anthropologists focus on trying to understand the cultural specifics of health and medicine. They peer through a cultural lens to better understand a community's perception of disease and illness from a physical, mental, and spiritual point of view. In doing so, their goal is to find more effective ways of communicating health, but to also find culturally relevant remedies. When Spero Manson, distinguished professor of psychiatry and public health at the University of Colorado, Denver, found out about the field, it struck a deep chord in him. He knew his calling was to be a medical anthropologist.
I come from a large extended family of American Indians from the Turtle Mountain Reservation in North Dakota. I am the eldest male, the second eldest overall of 67 grandchildren on my father's side. And I was supposed to be the doctor. So there was an enormous amount of energy and expectation invested in me.
So he enrolled as a pre-med student at the University of Washington in 1968. But after failing calculus in the first quarter, his counselor told him to forget about medical school. He didn't know what to do. Then a medical anthropologist came to speak at his school about their recent trip to American Samoa.
And it was about how American Samoa, in its transition to a trust territory, had then encountered major changes in political structure, dietary patterns, disease, epidemics. He went on to describe how commodity foods like commodity cheese, flour, powdered eggs, tins of canned bacon were introduced and replaced the native foods. And suddenly, there was an onslaught of diabetes and obesity. And I said, this describes my youth and what I have lived. He then went on to indicate how his interests were in understanding how social and cultural values and practices could be drawn upon to prevent these kinds of things. And I said, that's what always attracted me to medicine, but medicine doesn't do that. Other health professions do. So I then, from that moment on, pursued medical anthropology as my career.
For more than 35 years, Dr. Manson has worked in mental illness, alcohol and substance abuse, and more recently has moved towards physical health problems and trying to better understand the relationship between physical, mental, and spiritual health.
And so, in addition to looking at things like depression, anxiety, and trauma, we have been struggling to develop improved and culturally rooted ways of treating and preventing cardiovascular disease and diabetes.
On any given day, Dr. Manson could be in one of any 100 Native communities he works in. He's relentless about finding the most effective ways for each specific community to prevent or heal from illness.
So, January of this year, I was in a 4-seater bush plane with a pilot landing on the frozen Tanana River to go to Old Minto and spend 2 days at a recovery camp for Alaska Native families suffering from substance abuse. And I'm out there then, and I'm in the village with these people, and one of the cultural activities is actually rendering and dressing a moose, which I'd never done before. At the same time, these activities are part of the therapeutic process by which people are beginning to rediscover their sense of belonging and connectedness.
Each new community has a new lesson, a new challenge, and a new inspiration.
There's an incredible excitement for me in this process of discovery, of learning new things, and the lessons that emerge from talking and listening carefully to other people. But it doesn't end there. That's just the knowledge acquisition part of all of this. Then the second piece of the challenge is the knowledge application. How do I make sense of the understanding of what people have chosen to share with me? What are the implications for the differences it might make in terms of how we go about preventing or treating disease and disorder? In what ways do social and cultural factors contribute to that process? And does culture make a difference if we do successfully incorporate it into these means of prevention and treatment? And in my experience, the answer has been a resounding yes.
With the SACNAS Science Video Podcast, I'm Cassandra Brooks.